All right, this is Scott bringing you the first Patreon only edition of a first look at some whiskeys that I've picked up. Bart and I had been talking about how to increase our Patreon exclusivity and what do we bring to our Patreon supporters. One thing that we talked about was just posting our quick hitters or our individual looks at bottles onto Patreon. And I think what may happen is I'm going to look at these three brand new Compass Box. You'll get the first look at it. We could leave this up on Patreon for a month or two and then eventually move it to YouTube, or we just leave it on Patreon. Now, the reason for me to do this is it could take Bart and I a while to get to these bottles. It could be a couple weeks, it could be a couple of months. But what I want to do is bring kind of a first look, give our Patreon supporters that first look at it. It could be Bart and I never sit down with the three of these together. Who knows? So this could be the only look that you get at these whiskeys. So this is the Compass Box Myths and Legends series. There's three bottles to this. Bottle one is a single malt. It's not a blend. Compass Box has taken different whiskeys just from the Ball Blair distillery and created this. So this is a Compass Box single malt. Myths and Legends Chapter 2 or number 2 is from the Glen Elgin distillery, and it's a single malt as well. Only comprised of whiskeys from the Glen Elgin distillery. Myths and Legends 3 is a blended Scotch malt whiskey, I believe. Yep, blended malt Scotch whiskey. And it's comprised, I got these printed out here in front of me because there was quite a bit to these. So the Myths and Legend 3 is comprised of whiskeys from Glen Elgin, Highland Park, Kalila, and that's it, those three distilleries, so different whiskeys. And we'll go through the makeup and the years of each one as we test them. But what I'm going to do, you'll see me, I'm going to crack these right now. I haven't even opened these before. I'm going to pour them, turn the camera off, give it about 15, 20 minutes, and then come back so that you don't have to sit there and watch me for 20 minutes. So starting with number one. So I haven't even nosed these yet. These are limited editions as well. I don't remember which one. They have a little tab right up here at the top that tells you how many bottles there are. One of these is actually labeled wrong, and they have it in the marketing as far as how many bottles there are. This one shows that there's 4,394 bottles, which is the same as the marketing. So this one's on par. And that's the number one. I'll put into the Android head. I should be able to keep these separate or straight without Bart here goofing me up. Chapter 2, the label shows 4,564 bottles, and there's 4,446. So this is the one that's mislabeled. They've marked it too high. It says 4,564. There's only 4,446 bottles available. These are all also bottled at 46% ABV. A little bit higher. I wouldn't mind if they were a little bit higher than that, but I'll take 46. Many of you know Bart and I both are Compass Box fanboys. I think me a little bit more than him. When these came out, I had to get them, basically. And what I'll also do, probably my next look just for Patreon people, will be a look at Compass Box No Name 1 against No Name 2, which Bart and I did not do on the show when we reviewed the second edition. So this is number 3. And it shows there's 4,446 bottles. And on the marketing material, it says there's 4,564 bottles. So that one's one of those, that's mislabeled as well. Or the marketing material is wrong. So the third one here, I believe, is the only one with peat in it, with the Kalila and Highland Park. And one of them I can smell. Probably that one smells delicious. All right, so I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to let these air for 10, 15, 20 minutes. Just take a little time off here, and I'll be back. All right, I'm back. It's been about 12, 13 minutes, somewhere in that time frame. I had to get me some water as well. I did not have that out. This is Saturday morning. I'm hoping to shoot this and get this edited and posted right away for you on Saturday. I just wanted to really get this done. This is some good bottles, I hope. Kind of a nice exclusive for my first Patreon only exclusive. I did grab some coins here. I got Bourbon Nights, Trini and C's, and Roy's Aqua Vitae's coins, which I have not had on here. I just want to use to help capture the nose a little bit. So I am picking up some good noses just sitting here. Some citrus, lemongrass, maltiness, probably from all three of them combined. So, chapter 1 is a blast of citrus and vanillas and creams. Woo! Very nice nose on that one. And I'm saying chapter 1, it could just be Myths and Legends 1. Ooh, boy. All right, let's look at our sheet on number 1. So this is from Ball Blair Distillery. It is a single malt again. And then from the Compass Box website, you can pull up and look at the makeup. So this is 16-year-old Ball Blair, or 26% of this is 16-year-old Ball Blair. Brings lemon sherbet, cereals, and floral notes. From a recharred American oak barrel. 16.3% of it is from a recharred American oak barrel. 15-year-old Ball Blair brings lemon sherbet, cereals, and floral, so the same. And then 57.7% is 22-year-old Ball Blair from First Fill bourbon barrels. Brings peaches, salted caramel, pink grapefruit. Well, that's all just the nice citrus, vanillas, creams that's on the nose of that. Those notes are right on. Let's take a look at the nose on chapter 2. Use my Trini and C coin on there. That was a nice nose. I should have brought me some coffee beans down to reset my nasal palate. A little bit maltier, number 2. A lot of fruits on that as well. A little bit more of a, almost said sour oak, but not really. What I better do is confirm. Yep, that is number 2. A little bit of furniture, wax polish. Still some of the same notes as chapter 1. A lot of citrus, vanillas, but a little bit almost saltier, tangier. So let's see what our makeup is of number 2, which is all from the Glen Elgin Distillery, being a single malt as well. All right, it looks like 8% of it is 18-year-old Glen Elgin from a refill American oak hogshead. 3.4% of it is 22-year-old Glen Elgin from a recharred American oak barrel. 8% is 16-year-old Glen Elgin from a recharred American oak hogshead. 2.6% of it is 23-year-old Glen Elgin from a refill sherry butt. 18.8% is 19-year-old Glen Elgin from a recharred American oak barrel. And 59.2% is 18-year-old Glen Elgin from a recharred American oak barrel. So the youngest in this one is 16 years old, and that's only 8% of it. The rest of it is 19-year-old, 23-year-old, 22-year-old, 18-year-old. Go back to the nose on that real quick. Wow. Yep. Very nice. Similar but different than chapter 1. So let's take a look at chapter 3. Myths and Legends 3. This is the blend with some peat in it, some Kalila, some Highland Park. I did not get any peat with that first sniff right there. Boy, if there's peat, it's not showing on the nose. I think my nose is... No, there's faint hint. Still a lot of citrus, a lot of fruits coming through on that as well. Beautiful noses on all three of these. So chapter 3, or Myths and Legends 3, is 8.2% is 18-year-old Glen Elgin from a refill American Oak Hogshead. 8.1% is Glen Elgin, 16 years old, from a Recharred American Oak Hogshead. 8.6% is 23-year-old Highland Park, Recharred American Oaks Hogshead. 6.5% is 15-year-old Kalila, from a refill sherry butt. And 4.2% is 19-year-old Glen Elgin from a Recharred American Oak barrel. And 64.4% of it is 18-year-old Glen Elgin from a Recharred American Oak. So, 8.6% of this is 23-year-old Highland Park. So a light peat there. And 6.5% is 15-year-old Kalila. So you only 14, little about 15% of this is peated, and 8% of that is lightly peated. So it is not real present on the nose. We'll come back to that one. We're going to start with chapter 1 now. That is beautiful. Lemongrass, light citrus notes, or a lot of citrus notes of a lighter fruit. Think pear, think apple, even some peaches, maybe a little pineapple. Vanillas, waxy, creamy, very nice. Again, Myths and Legend number 1 is a single malt whiskey from Ball Blair Distillery. Several barrels there. Very nice palate. Finish is not real deep, not a lot of depth to the finish. It's hanging on, but barely. It is lighter. Just those citruses still. Vanillas, creams. Very nice. And literally just a drop. Not much at all. Now, warning, one of these bottles, if not all of them, had a pretty rough bottom. I slid it across my desk and it actually scratched it. So be careful. I actually set them on some cork coasters. Let me wash my palate a little bit. Wash my palate, cleanse my palate. Moving on to number 2. Again, just a little bit stronger on the nose than one. One a lot lighter, more citrus, more fruits. This one's a little bit more, almost like it's got a little bit more bite. Almost, it's telling you it's going to have a little bit more bite on the palate. Let's see. Very similar to number 1. Is it more malty? I think a lot of the same notes, a lot of the citruses, those lighter fruits, again, pears, apples along the same line, but a little bit more, maybe it's the malt. A very small portion of this is from a refill sherry butt, not very much. There is a refill American oak hogshead that was used, and the rest are recharred American oak barrels. And I think the bourbon influence, the ex-bourbon cask, is prevalent here. The Glen Elgin bringing a little bit more bite than the Ball Blair, but the Ball Blair, a really nice, beautiful citrus and vanilla mouthfeel. Wow, that is delicious. Those are both. A little bit of caramel there. Very nice. Cleanse my palate and go into number three. Number three. Very, very similar to the other two, with a hint of peat. It's there. Yeah, I picked it up as soon as I put it in my mouth, as soon as it hit the palate. A little bit more bite on this one as well. Now it's kicking in, moving down my throat. Even though these are all 46%, again, number three is the blend. This one has Glen Elgin in it. It has Highland Park, and it has Kalila. None of the Ball Blair is in this one, so little bit more palate on the number three, which is the blend, single malt. That's three very nice bottles of Compass Box. Boy, the fruit, all the fruit notes of the others. Very, very slight hint of peat. Now, I will tell you, I've had several bottles that bring a slight hint of peat, and the longer they're open, the more the peat starts to show. So I bet you could see that with this bottle. I'll bet you have a couple of drinks out of this, and you come back in a couple of months, and that peat you're gonna be able to pick up that peat more. I don't know that. I'm guessing that. I might bet $1 on it. These are all good. You could add a drop of water to these. They're all good without it. Great palates. The finish on number three is hanging in there better than the others. Probably due to the peat grabbing on. Just go back real quick and go through them again. Back to number one with a drop of water. Boy, the citruses and the vanillas on that are beautiful. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Number two. Same with number two, but I think number two just has a little bit more depth to it. And I wonder how our averages of the ages are going. One is 15-year-old, 16-year-old, and the majority 22-year-old. Number two is majority 18, 19, 16-year-old, and a slight bit of 22 and 23-year-old. Both very nice. Go back to number three now and just see. A little bit more bite with number three. It's got to be due to the peat. Got to be due to the peat. You know, number one, yeah, I'm not going to claim a favorite. How's that? All delicious, all good. Now these will run, I think they're in the 140 to 150 range a piece. So you buy the set of three, you're getting pretty pricey. I hate to tell you, if you're going to pick one, which one to pick. I would say pick one and go with it. Try it, and it would probably lead you to buy the others. So, I think that's it for my first look at Compass Box 1, 2, and 3 scoring. They're probably all 91s, maybe 92s, somewhere in there. 91 plus or minus 1. How's that? Bart's favorite scoring system. So, thank you, Patreon, and all the support that we get from you guys and gals. It goes a long ways. Cilantro, dummies.